Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Block Party number 96. It is many people's favorite time of the day, which is Dharmendra's Accelerated Collective Evolution. And without further ado, Dharmendra, brother, please take it away. Great to see you. We love you.
Thank you, Jamin, and we love you too. No question about that. And lovely to see everybody here who's here today, and welcome to anybody that this is your first time stepping into the voyage into the Synergy Awakening Codes, or life codes for short, which is my way of saying gene keys plus human design plus the I Ching plus Taoist internal martial arts based on the I Ching. So lots of pieces come together in presenting this to you guys. And tonight we have a theme we're going to be working on that is the 19th hexagram, which originally in the original I Ching is the gate of approach. And it's also what we're going to go into, of course, is the full spectrum of consciousness of its expression through all of us, basically, in our genetic codons. And that's why I call it the life code. Because we'll be tapping into how that expresses itself through the human experience, the human perception, and the human manifestations through this meeting this evening. And so we're just going to get straight into it. This is the 6th meeting, and we've already covered several other topics, which some of which is available in the emails that are sent out to watch some of the YouTube videos of these kind of intros, which are going to be always recorded, so that each meeting it's recorded what we went into. And then, of course, if you actually want to be part of this, we jump into a breakout room after I give this introduction, so that we can work on it very deeply and unabashedly without any recording. So, as I said, the hexagram of approach, and in human design, it's the gate of needs. My take on it is the law of necessity. It comes out of the root center, so it's all about manifesting, and it's all about fulfilling needs. And the needs could be anything from food to family to God and everything in between. And another way of saying it is like from sex to superconsciousness, which one great spiritual teacher I was very close with wrote a book by that name. Not wrote a book, but was recorded doing discourses. And those recordings became a book called From Sex to Superconsciousness. So this is about what is necessary to have life continue as a material phenomena, and what are all the things that go into that. Interestingly enough, we went into the 49th gate last week, which is the other half of the channel that these two combine in the human being to create a life force channel. And that's all about principles, which is what supplies what is necessary, what's being asked for in this particular life code. Okay. So at the shadow level, where we'll start working this evening, in my life codes, I call it clinging. It's in the gene keys, it's called codependence. I see it more as a clinging, a hanging on as if for dear life to whatever it is you think you can't live without and that you can't find on your own. And you're, how to say it, absolutely determined to get it from another, because it's the only way you've been trained to see that you can get it. And a great example of that would be a smothering mother who, when you grow up, you find a wife that does the same thing for you. And then you have your perfect formula for a codependent relationship. And that's just seeing this through the lens of family. There's also the way religions inculcate all these beliefs into us and ways of filtering our reality in certain dogmas that have certain codes of behavior and all kinds of things attached to them that create all kinds of movements that may or may not be an accurate reflection of reality. And in most cases, since religions, by very definition, are based on something from somebody who's already passed, where it's basically trying to apply those past codes to what's happening in the present living moment, which is always flowing and changing. So the very phenomena, religion itself, is kind of an interesting phenomena. And that is, of course, not what I mean when I would say something like a spiritual transmission, which is a living, breathing thing that's responding to the moment and the necessities of the moment, which can also be part of this code too at the city level. We'll get there. So basically putting the responsibility in another's hands, including the so-called God. That's the big one, where, it can all, if nothing else works, you can always blame it on God. And you can always hope that God will give you what it is you're seeking if nobody else can give it to you. And I'll just leave that open, and you can do what you want with that. It's not up to me to inculcate beliefs in people, just to point out what is existing, what's being worked with, what's being shaped in our genetic codons. At the level of the gift, we move up a couple of levels of frequency to, in the life codes, I call it attunement. In the gene keys, it's sensitivity. I like the word attunement better because it takes sensitivity to get attuned, and to be attuned is basically what is the situation asking for, and the depth of sensitivity in relation to that. So we step out of this mode of hyper focus on who we think is going to deliver the goods for us and provide us what we need. And we step into basically looking at what's being asked for from our own five senses, from our own intelligence, and tapping into who we are and our resources. And that can include others, but it also includes us. And it's more about mutually beneficial exchanges that answer to the law of necessity of what's needed in any certain moment, and everybody can participate in that. And that's a lot more the flavor of what the gift is about. At the level of the city, I call in the gene keys, it's sacrifice. I call it interconnectedness. What are we truly connected to, and what does that entail in terms of taking responsibility for our side of that connection? That's the sacrifice is really about owning that 100% and taking ownership for that reality, and also opening to that as the true meaning of vulnerability. The true meaning of vulnerability is to be able to step into and respond to what's being asked for, and to give of oneself, no matter how much that is. Just if you are able to step into the city of this space, you can also, if it even comes down to that degree of giving, to be the sacrifice in order for something to come through. But as I see sacrifice, it just means giving of yourself, sacrificing your time, your energy, your intelligence, all those things to whatever cause you're giving forth, and that without any holding back. And also tapping into your spirit as the guiding force, that your higher self, and tapping into the higher purpose, which is probably most central, at least as I've seen it, is the liberation of all beings from suffering. Because only until that's happened do things like meditation and comfort and providing for that has to be like the bedrock bottom for everything else to happen. If there's still that occurring somewhere in some place, then there's still some kind of splitting on a collective level and selfishness, because all beings deserve to be free from suffering. And a world so that is what the city aims for, is that the liberation of all beings from suffering, whatever the theme is. And the theme here is the law of necessity, obviously. And tapping into higher powers as the most direct route to setting up mutually beneficial exchanges in this sense. And that we do that when we get to the city level, we tap into our higher purpose, and we all come together as like many different facets of a beautiful diamond that can reflect the light of higher intelligence through us. And we literally call that forth simply by being a collective with that sort of an intent and a consciousness that's focused and yet expanded and dispersed through everybody. Because the universal chi will respond to that with an honest, how to say it, image of that can feed all of our intelligences. And that gets a little deeper into how the city spaces work here. And we'll get more into that when we actually get into it. But I just kind of wanted to give a sense that when we all come together as one, we produce a response from the universal chi that matches that collective intelligence of the moment that we are creating. And that's why the city spaces are so powerful. And literally all that's needed to be done is to just be open to that, be vulnerable to that higher consciousness, and let it move through you, because that tends to create reverberations out into your life. And they may not happen immediately, because at the deeper levels of frequency, it takes a little longer for responses to occur through the material realm. Okay, I think that's a nice little introduction to get us to step into the breakout room and start our work this evening. And thanks again, everybody, for being here. It's great to see all of you.
Thank you, Dharmendra Brother. So I'll go ahead and pause recording, or stop recording rather.